We're back. Hi, everybody. This is CL Miller. I'm Girly Sports Junkie on Tumblr, and also you may know me as the Director of Marketing and Communications for Interlude Press, pulling a Jerry Lewis telethon here except a sort of a smaller version. I'm getting a real appreciation for what he used to do because 24 hours of this is more than enough. We are here with one 2014 author and a whole bunch of 2015 authors who have got one of the unique challenges of today's events because they get to talk about titles they can't entirely talk about. And I think they have the biggest challenge of anybody today because we do have our one rule in announcing titles is that we wait until we do have a manuscript in hand, and a couple of them are tantalizingly close, but not close enough. So they'll talk a little bit about themes and what they're how they're approaching working on this. We've got people at varied stages of progress, and we have one author who is 2 weeks away from the book officially being on the market, but who has been reviewed twice. So I'd like to introduce everyone. First and foremost, we have AJ DeWall, who is behind the cover of, well, you can see a guitar and some legs, and it says Forever Man. AJ's had some broadband issues, so she's just going with audio. She is somewhere north in the middle of a lake with not the greatest reception, but we know she can get audio. Is that correct?
It is correct.
Excellent. AJ is also known as Iconic Claim online, and for transparency's sake, is also a partner in Interlude Press and the founding partner of Interlude Press with an absolutely gorgeous book. And that's not just me talking, that's Publishers Weekly talking. We also have Charlotte Ash. Charlotte, raise your hand and give us your Tumblr username, because there are bets.
Oh, really? Okay, I am Shazam.
Thank you. It's a debated thing.
I would have thought that would have been obvious, but I guess not.
I've heard people say Chasm.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah, no, Shazam, because
You're
Charlotte.
Shazam. You're
Yeah.
Shazam.
I am.
Sam, I am.
Exactly.
We could go in a whole Dr. Seuss direction here, but I'm not going to do that. Next, we have Becca Burton. Becca, can you say hi and let us know who you are on Tumblr?
I am, and I heard everything on Tumblr.
Becca is also the newest member of the Interlude author family, so welcome. I mean, she's literally, the ink is hardly dry on the contract. She's going. So this is a brave thing, and we applaud that. Next, we have Mila McWarren, who could maybe...
I'm starting to recognize as my name. I'm playing on Tumblr.
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, I'm wordplaying on Tumblr.
See, I think everyone knows that. That's a name people recognize right there.
McWarren? Yeah, good luck. I'm going to be working on it myself.
I was thinking the wordplay part, but
okay.
Give it time. Next, we have Lissa Reed. Lissa.
Hi, and I'm Glitter Damarung on Tumblr. It's a terrible joke.
Yay!
That's a great joke.
And last but not least, someone who heard us teasing him in the last panel, Zane Riley.
Hi, I'm Zavocado on Tumblr.
I'm going to direct my first question to you because I just have to ask, what's it like to have fangirls?
Weird. It's really weird. My friends tease me about it all the time, so.
And so do we. So do we, because it gives us joy. And you're a good sport about it. So okay, that's all. I promise to drop it from here on out. So the fun thing is, I was starting to say, well, the fun thing other than saying is this panel represents people at lot of stages of the process here. Someone who's literally just started, just signed on, and someone who actually has some reviews in hand. And I'd like to cover just very quickly a little business that we weren't able to handle this morning, what with the storm that was in AJ's neighborhood. And I have some visual aids for this one. This is a galley, actually, an arc. It is not the final version that people will be receiving, but it looks a heck of a lot like it. Look, and a very beautiful, lovely back cover that we're going to have RJ, our art director, talk a little bit about later today, because we actually could hear her scratching this on the phone one day to create this Milagro. But there is a big difference in this cover now, AJ. I might have a sample of it.
Oh, Lord.
And she's like, oh, just don't embarrass me. See, there's been a revision to the cover of Forever Man. It now includes the following quote from Publishers Weekly, which gave it a star, by the way. This intense debut will leave readers clamoring for more. So that is now on the cover. I believe it's now on the cover. It better be, because this is the version of the cover I have in front of me. That is on AJ's book. Congratulations.
Thank you.
She's like, don't embarrass me. I do want to take just a moment to talk about your book, and then we're going to discuss this process that everyone else is going through, because you're the one who's done with it now. Obviously, the book, the fan fiction, Someone Like You, has come up several times today, by the way. 3, maybe 4 people have said that was the fan fiction that convinced them that they wanted to do it too. What goes through your head when you hear that?
Oh, well, that's the greatest compliment ever. I mean, I love writers, and so if there are writers who are starting up, picking it back up or starting it for the first time because they read that story, that's huge. That's the best compliment ever, and it makes me very happy.
Can you tell us a little bit about the story? I mean, I think everyone on this panel is familiar with it, but for anyone who may be watching or listening, can you kind of tell us a bit what the story is about?
Sure. It's about 2 friends who have fallen out of touch with each other, who were best friends in prep school, and in love with each other secretly, and for various reasons afraid to take a chance on that. So it's maybe 14 years after they first met, and they find themselves not only in the same city, but in the same hotel at the same time, both on business.
How convenient.
Yeah, and they both are romantically involved with other people. One has a boyfriend, one has a fiance, and yet this becomes this chance encounter becomes the last chance in their minds to explore the feelings that they always had.
It's a stunning book, and I know you're very humble about it, but it is a very sort of lyrical, I guess is the word I'd use to describe it. Parts of it poetic. And one of the things that really struck me about it is the role that the location plays. The setting almost felt like a character in itself of Santa Fe. And there seems to be a lot of symbolism in that. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, for me, Santa Fe is a character, and it's partly because of my own experience in living in the city for 6 years. I found it to be a transformational experience, and when I was thinking of where to put these 2 characters, I wanted it to be in a city that I knew could actually affect change, that it actually does change people, even if you're just there for a few days. So it seemed like a good fit. The city is just full of, it's such an interesting town. It's full of seekers, people who are trying to find answers and maybe a different path, a different future. So it seemed like a really good fit. And then it's very distinctive. It doesn't look like any other city in this country. You feel like you've left the United States when you go there. And it's so just the way the landscape looks and the buildings look. So in that respect, yes. And it's also very influenced by the Spanish culture and the Native American culture. So it is a distinctive character in my mind.
You also have, I asked a lot of the authors about supporting characters, and one of the things that stood out when this was fan fiction was that pretty much your entire supporting cast were already original characters and very vivid original characters. Was there a reason for that? Had you planned to turn this into a book?
No, no, I did not plan to turn it into a book.
I am aware of that, actually, but we'll continue.
No, that was not my intent. I don't know. The characters came to me. For me, it was about the two men that their characters originated in a fan fiction story, but it was never really about that world. It was just about those two characters. So I created a new world for them, a different world for them to hang out in. They needed other characters to hang with.
For those who don't know, and I'm going to just slip this story in very, very briefly, AJ had no intention of publishing this book with us. It was not on our original roster, let alone our original roster of launch titles. At the 11th hour, a title did not work out, which was actually going to be the launch title. And we knew we needed one that was strong, that was well written, that had an existing audience. And we were scratching our heads, and one day I went to her and said, I know the book. The book is out there. And she goes, who is it? And I said, well, it's you. And it took 2 hours of cajoling and a couple of months of grumbling. But what she got was, and that she turned it around as quickly as she did and turned it into the book that she did is just shocking to me, and something I know I would never be able to accomplish myself. So I'm so impressed when you realize what the backstory is about this becoming a novel. It's all the more impressive.
I just need to interrupt you because actually when you finally got around to telling me, you led with, don't be mad at me. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that worked out. We have a question for you, AJ. This is from Scout 451, who asks, Scout. The original fanfic of Forever Man is one of my all-time faves, and it actually makes me reluctant to read the novel for fear that it would taint the original story of my beloved claim. Could you speak to the idea of how a person can separate the two?
I respect that. I mean, I think there are people who won't want to read it for that reason, and I totally get that and respect it. That said, although the characters have evolved into original characters, like many of the titles at Interlude Press, it already was so alternative universe that they sort of evolve from the source material. So I think you'll find that it's still the same story. It's just the characters don't exist in the source material anymore. So the story evolves in the same way. The heart is the same. The location's the same. All the OCs are the same. And it also gave me an opportunity to explore their backstory and also make a few changes that I really wish I could have made in the fanfic, but also that I couldn't have made, just because then it would have been it wouldn't have been fan fiction. I don't know. To me, I think it's if you love someone like you, you'll like Forever Man.
I'm just putting this comment up there because it's a compliment to me. And I think I deserve that. It says, bless Girly and her cajoling skills. So we just, for the record. Let's see. Let's see if there's another AJ specific. Otherwise, we're going to start to. I know there's one in there, but I've sort of lost it in my email for the time being because there's a whole lot of email in there today. So thank you, everybody, for your questions. Let's see. Anything else specific? There are a bunch of questions in here. No, so you know what? We're going to scoot along with one other note because there's another thing. I feel like I'm congratulating AJ almost every day, but it's much deserved. One of the goals that our company has had, at least, something we hope to reach, and we reached it a lot earlier than we expected, is to reach out to the market of librarians. And today we got our first order for books from a library, and it just happens to be the Carnegie Library for Forever Man. So I think that's something to really celebrate, and I'm sure that has a lot to do with the great reviews your book is getting. So congratulations on that. That is a huge step for us.
Thanks, and if I can just say, for me, as being part of Interlude Press, it means a lot to me because I know that librarians take note of small presses and the work they put out, so it's really paving the way for the rest of our titles to be taken seriously, so I'm super, super excited about that.
Yep, that's exactly it. And every one of these authors deserves that. We've got some great titles in the works, even if we can't say what the titles are. And like I said, some of you are. But you know what? I think it's safe to talk about some themes. And let's face it, some people are going to make some very quick assumptions about what some of you are working on. They may be right. They may be wrong. But you've had some different experiences and you're at different stages in this process. For example, I'd say both Zane and Charlotte, you're getting fairly close, I would think, within a month or two of delivering manuscripts, I think.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Oh, hey, we're gonna, you know what? We're gonna post this comment. It's got nothing to do with what we're talking about, but everybody deserves an ego boost. Sorry, Zane, you are not included. He's, Fabian Gonzalez says, "Wow, all the ladies here are extremely attractive." Well, thank you. After being up as long as I have, I'm taking that, man. Anyway, Zane and Charlotte, you're getting close, and you both. Let's see, how should we put this? You both are working on stories that have some challenges to do it.
Yes.
They are very AU, and yet there are elements, I think, where you could end up writing yourself into a box, or maybe their prior expectations. Are you challenged by this? How are you dealing with this? Either one. Pop on.
You go first.
Gosh. I'm trying not to think about a lot of the expectations that might come with mine right now. I'm just sort of trying to get through the writing process and just let the characters, like the new original characters, just take the story and make it their own without getting too attached to certain parts of it. Like, last night I was going through one of the scenes and I was like, this is just, it's not working. I can't force them into this old story. I've got to let them write it themselves. So it was a struggle because I've gotten really attached to part of that scene, but I think the way I'm reworking it it's going to be better than it was before. So
I can't wait to find out what that is. I'm going to quiz you at some point.
It's interesting. I mean, it's really it's a challenge to try to create something that is new but sort of has the heart of something that people have really enjoyed and really connect with. And I've definitely found it pretty challenging in some ways. I've found that there are certain things that I have to do that are a lot more work than the first time around. And I found some stuff that is like really exciting and new places I can branch off because the characters are original, so that gives me a lot more freedom, which is really exciting and fun. So I don't know, I think it's a mixed bag. It's enjoyable and it's incredibly frustrating sometimes at the same time.
Let me ask something to everybody here, with the exception, of course, of AJ, because you can't do the visual aid that I'm going to require. And that is everyone who had started writing, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And that's what I expected. Okay. So we got a question that was in response to the last question that said, this is not the question. It just popped to a different location. Everyone's asking about the difficult part of changing fic into books. What's the good part? What's the better part? This is from Ariel. Anybody who wants to answer, what's a good thing that's happening? Is there anything that while you're working on it you go, wow, that's cool?
Okay, I have an answer to this one, actually.
Oh, good.
So I'm having a lot of fun playing around with, like, one of the things, this is so nerdy, I'm so sorry, but one of the things that I just really like is...
that's been your role in everything today, by the way.
I know, well, I've been teaching all day, it's been a long day. It's like I'm using a lot of class themes and stuff, which is a thing that I like a lot in stories, is sort of building in sort of richer social locations and sort of where people live and gritty, grody economic stuff and how people think about money and how they think about themselves. And this is part of the deep subtext of Glee, but it's pretty damn deep. And so it's been very fun to sort of just let that roll a little bit more and to play around with, like, how to do that in a way that makes them feel more real. Mm-hmm. And more people would know better and have more compassion for, but isn't like a treatise on, how economics work. So that's been super fun, and is a thing I never would have let myself do with Glee stuff, with like thick work, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going from a treasured sentimental story to a textbook on economics.
Oh, hell no, no. But here's the thing, like, well, I don't want to get into my issues with Kurt's socioeconomic class, but what the hell are Kurt's socioeconomic statuses? Somebody tell me sometime soon. So no, but there are reasons that people struggle with coming together that have nothing to do with finding other partners, right? Like, there are things that drive people apart that are more complicated than a third party. And some of this is just knowing who you are, and there are things you can't really articulate at 17 that you learn to talk about at 22 and 23 a little bit better. And this is one of those things. Like, I think this is a thing that people learn about themselves when they get a little bit older. And I never could have put that into that story. Now I can. Don't worry, I promise there's no mention of marks anywhere, although now I have to put one in, I feel like. It just became obligatory. Note to self.
Self, include Karl Marx.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to pop in on this one? What about the process? We know what some of the challenges are. What are the joys?
Well, I'm actually really enjoying a lot about it, because there's a lot of things in my original work that I wanted to go into more, but I didn't really feel like fit the story at the time. And now I have the opportunity to, like, flesh out those areas more, and I'm trying to be really vague because I can't talk that much about what my book right now, but it's really been really cool and really interesting to be able to go into that and delve into some of those things that I think are really interesting, that I think readers will really like, but I was sort of, I didn't really feel like it fit before.
Any other thoughts on that one? We've got a lot of questions. I'm going to focus quite a bit on questions. We've got, Eline. Eline? Any idea how we pronounce that? I bet I just butchered it.
Aylin?
Could be. When you rewrite a fanfic into a book, do the characters still look like the original characters in your head, or do you change their looks completely? I think that's the first question everyone asks.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize it's the simplest question. It gets much more complicated than that, don't you think? Or maybe not. I mean, maybe it is just the appearance.
Oh, mine have changed
Mhm.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so have mine.
yeah.
I think it's the one of the first questions were asked by authors. How much do I have to change their appearance? And then we tell them, well, appearance is only part of the equation here. You've already created this original story, but you need to create the original story around the characters who are meant to be there, the characters that are yours. And that's not just about someone's looks. That's about who they are, where they're from, where their head is at. And some people have that in their story already, some don't. It depends how far you went with that original fic. I mean, for example, AJ was talking about her characters and how really they weren't the canon characters at all, ever, other than in name. So I think that's just the beginning. That's the tip of the iceberg, as far as I see it.
Mm. I think it's helpful, though, I have to say, because for me to get into really getting to know my original characters, I felt like I had to start seeing them differently. So I felt like it was actually a really important part of the process to change some of their physical characteristics quite a bit so that I could start seeing them differently and help me get to know them.
Did you do a fan casting for your own characters? Like, did you go find somebody who would look like them, or did you just make up a composite?
I
need to
actually
know.
did. I got some reference pictures. Not an exact one, but I got like maybe 5 or 6 reference pictures for each character that like, oh, this guy's eyes and this guy's hair and this guy's, and I actually did, which is kind of yeah.
I do the same
No,
thing.
it's kind of awesome is the word you're looking for. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I went on Google as soon as I decided, and I was like, all right, I'm going to Google guys with this color hair, and then
Yeah.
guys with this color eyes, and eventually I found one that, for Kurt's character becomes, I found one that's almost exact, and it was pretty awesome. I'm very proud of having that picture saved.
And then you hope that your computer never becomes a part of a criminal investigation.
Yeah.
Not that that would ever happen. We've got a question. Oh, from our art director, RJ Shepard asks, I think this is a good one because I think there are a lot of different processes in play here. To all, is your writing process more methodical or spans of writing frenzy? Something in between, perhaps. Zane, how would you like to answer that one?
Depends on my work schedule a lot of the time. For the most part, I try to write every day. I've got these sticky notes on my desk, and I've got lists for every day, and I try and keep track of how much I write, set myself a goal for a 7-day span, which next week I work 8 days in a row, 70 hours, so I probably won't get much done at all.
Zane, there's 7 days in a week.
8 days. Whatever. If I work 8 days in a row, that's a week.
Can I also ask, is that a Lego Yoda behind you?
Yes.
That's really awesome.
That's amazing.
Okay, how many frenzy writers do we have in the room? Raise your hands. I'm not a frenzy writer, usually.
A little bit, sometimes.
I have to have a lot of caffeine in me to be a frenzy writer. How about I schedule time to write and book it? I knew wordplay would say that.
Shocking new information that I'm a control freak about my time. Yeah.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Sotto Voce was largely written on a train, going back and forth to downtown LA. And then, is there anyone who just goes, I'm in the mood to write now, and that's when I write? Just whenever it happens.
Not when there's a deadline.
Okay, point taken. We'll move on to the next question. Is there any fear, asks Janet, of losing fans or followers once the novels come out, since they might be too different from the original fics that they enjoyed? I fear no book. You know,
My fan base has been
go, please.
my fan base has been generally very supportive the whole time, so they've been really excited about this. So I'm kind of going, okay, I don't want to be cocky, but thanks, guys. No, I feel pretty good about it.
I think most people, I mean, you have the choice. You can read the book or not. I mean, the fan fiction's there. You can read it or not. It's, you know, it's not like it's a mandatory requirement to be your fan or follower and read the book. You know, that's a choice. You don't have to pick it up.
Is everyone leaving their original fan fiction up and available for people to read?
Oh God, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, forever and ever.
As long as AO3 exists, it will exist there.
Yes.
You know, I think every writer who's gotten through and is finished with the project is so proud of what they ultimately ended up with, not only what they wrote, but then how it continued to change and evolve through the editing process, and that they felt they had, something that was truly new, that it's not in competition with fan fiction. It's something entirely different than the source of origin. And I realize that not all of you are at that point yet, but all the authors we've talked to today that have gotten to that point seem to all feel very much the same when it comes to that. So I don't know if, it's not a matter of being cocky, but I think it's simply a matter of being very proud of your work and knowing also that you've got a lot of supportive people who like to read your stuff. So thank you, Janet. Let's see. Let's find another good one here. We've asked that question. Obviously, changing a fan fiction into an original work of art with original characters and backstories, there are things from the original fic you have to leave out. Was it difficult to let those things go? This is my kill your darlings question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find yourself having to kill your darlings? And how hard is that?
I've maimed one. And the decision as to whether to just outright put it out of its misery or just maim it a little more is still in the scales.
Yeah.
Bert Hummel is gone. This is really hard for me.
Those are the saddest words I've ever heard.
It was really hard. Like, I feel like that relationship is so particular and so special, and he needs to learn all of those up. Like, it's a very well defined relationship, and I had a really hard time taking that kind of real masculine energy that they have for each other, that kind of like masculine familial affection, and turning it into something brand new that didn't feel like it was too derivative of the original stuff. And so Bert Hummel's out. Sorry, buddy. You live with me forever.
Poor Bert.
It's really hard.
You say something there that makes a lot of sense, and that is if something in canon is so strong and has left such an indelible imprint on people, is there a way to include an element that even resembles that without feeling like you're towing the line a little too much?
I have no doubt that more talented people than me could do it. I could not pull it off. Like, I just couldn't find a way to build that relationship that felt right to me. I don't know, anybody else?
Any other darlings killed? Any Berts killed? No one can kill Bert. Only wordplay can kill Bert.
Gotta be done.
Got to be done. Let's see what else. We have got so many questions for this panel. It is Wild. Oh, do you prefer writing at night or day? Asks Casey. Or does the time of day not affect your writing process?
Night all the way for me.
Night
Middle
I
of the
schedule, but I have, notes on my phone that I'm constantly doing during the day.
Do you write on your phone?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Google Drive. Yay.
Oh, I don't know. I get sleepy. I really enjoy snoozing, so I'm more of a I kind of like the mornings.
Ugh,
I
morning.
usually write at night by necessity because I work during the day. I usually have to go into work pretty early, but sometimes I sneak and write at work and pretend I'm doing different work.
Don't tell.
And I hope that my boss is not watching this for a number of reasons, and this is only one of them.
No. You use time professionally, and I'm sure you only write on your breaks.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's see. So many of you have written more than one great fan fiction story. How very sweet. Of Danny, I'm going to guess it's Danny, Danee. How did you choose which one to develop for Interlude?
We didn't, did we? Did we get to do that? And nobody told me?
We came to you on our knees and we groveled. That's not true because I know that there are some that we definitely went and said this one, but there are others that we went and said this one, and they said no, more like this one. And a good example of that one is Lynn Charles and Chef's Table, which is our first original from the ground up novel, the first of many that are coming, and that's going to be published in December. And we approached her about something else, and she said, that's okay, but I've got this other thing that I've got kind of sketched out, and I'm playing with the idea, but really I think I'd rather that's the one I'd like to turn into a novel, and ends up that was a great call because it's a fantastic book.
I love the cover art.
Yes, it's very different than anything else we've got, and it's our first rom-com too. So, there is a give and take on that, and certainly Lynn's not the only one where that happened. But yes, for answering the question, a lot of these.
Oh no, you froze.
Yeah, me too.
She's frozen.
Oops.
She is. Oh.
Such a ponderous face she's making too. She's right in the middle of the point.
I know. I wonder if she even knows she's frozen.
There's the chat thing on the sidebar. Can we tell her?
Right.
We should.
Yeah.
Her car battery must have finally gave up.
Oh.
Oh dear.
Oh geez.
Well, quick, while she's away, does anybody else have any? So you guys picked like body or face models for your characters? Yes.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any other great tips or advice that you thought would be useful for this crew in particular to pass along?
I write really, really detailed backstories. I find that very helpful of the new characters, like not just sort of a rough outline, but like little short stories that are basically their histories and stuff. So I feel like I'm getting to know them, and it's almost like I'm creating my own little canon that I can ship characters from, because I'm so used to fan fiction that actually is an easier way for me to do it. Which I think for people transitioning from fan fiction, it might be helpful.
When all else fails, in some cases, switch the gender. I've done that with one of my side characters.
Yeah, me too.
Done that with a lot of secondary characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's too many guys here. We need more women. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's really good advice. Okay, I may have to keep that. That's actually how Bert died. That's the real story of his tragic death.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right, that's good. Oh, she's really properly gone now.
Yeah, we're on our own. This is scary.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm,
no parental guidance. Help.
I know.
Danny's
Do we
gone
have
too.
Do we have access to those questions that she was looking at, or no?
I don't.
There
I
is
don't think so.
in the
Okay.
sidebar. There's the Q&A button. We can read them. We can't really like pick them though.
Oh.
There's a lot of them though.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we could do this.
Who wants
Somebody
to
want to
pick
pick
one?
one? Not me.
Oh, no, that's not her coming back. Shoot. I can't read. Oh, dear.
There's a one. It's a +2. Do you guys see that? DEF.
Eh?
I'm scared to make my screen smaller because computers scare me, so I'm not going to read anything else.
Yeah, I found the question.
Does that sound like a good question to you?
Where'd it go? Keeps jumping. Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think we can do most of them, so we could start with that one, I guess. And hopefully she comes back.
Be our leader.
Oh, hey, someone loves your bookshelf, Zane.
Well, thank you. It's taken years to make those Legos and fill it up, all that stuff.
It's pretty awesome.
Okay, let's see. The question is from DEF, and it is, did you have any hesitancy in turning a fan work into a published novel, whether it be the editing process, the stigma, or opening up to criticism from outside fandom space?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Terror.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dear. Unadulterated terror. Like going, people who get paid to review things are going to read this.
Yes.
God.
Yes.
Yes.
My family thinks I'm writing a book based off of popular stories on the internet, not fanfiction.
You kind of are. That's really good spin.
We just
Yeah.
write stories for fun.
Yeah, my aunt knows. My grandmother has no idea. She's 80 and
Oh,
she's
God,
Mormon,
no.
so I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's a book.
I'm just not going to
Don't worry
bother.
about it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, trying to imagine that on Grandma's bookshelf.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Even my mom's bookshelf.
All my family
she
is
would-
Southern.
Yeah.
I mean, I think too. I had some anxiety about how fandom was going to take this business model, and I've talked about that before.
Mhm.
Just like,
Yeah.
is fandom ready for this moment? And apparently, it seems to be. So that was good news. Nobody in my family knows I'm even writing this book, so that we'll see how that works out long term. So yes, on every single front. I think.
It is interesting to think about whether to tell people just like casually, like people you work with or something, like how far in depth to get, or if you even want to tell them, or that's something I haven't decided on yet.
No. It's scary to take writing outside of fandom, though. For me, I haven't really done that before, and I had a lot of confidence issues with my writing. So it's been a very big leap to just do this and put myself out there outside of the warm blanket of fandom. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Even with like writing fan fiction online, the first thing I posted, it took two of my friends, I think it was 3 days to convince me to let them read it, and then like another week to convince me to post it. And I had no confidence at all in any of it. And even now, like going to like my creative writing classes on campus, I still am so nervous to like let anyone read anything when it's actually like face to face. I'm just like, oh god, oh gosh.
I think it's harder with